on news around the world. Federal government raises high flood risk alert in 33 states. Also, federal government orders full probe into Geely airstrike. Oyo chief judge frees 38 awaiting trial prison inmates. And on the foreign scene, Iran threatens Red Sea Gulf trade over U.S. blockade. Good evening, and thank you for joining us on News Around the World here on BCOS television. I am Idowu Shekoni. In the sign language corner is Korede Oluleye. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usev, has revealed that 226 local government areas in 33 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory fall within the high flood risk areas identified for this year. Professor Usev stated this on Wednesday during the public presentation of the 2026 Annual Flood Outlook by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency at the State Banquet Hall of the Aso Villa, Abuja. He listed the states to include Adamawa, Anambra, Bauchi, Bayelsa, Benue, Borno, Cross River, Delta, Ebonyi, Edo, Enugu, Gombe, Imo, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Kebbi, Kogi, Kwara, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Ondo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Rivers, Sokoto, Taraba, Yobe, Zamfara, and the FCT. According to the Outlook, 405 local government areas in 35 states of the Federation fall within the moderate flood risk area, except Ekiti State. Meanwhile, incidents of minimal flood are expected in 923 communities in 77 local government areas of 24 states. The federal government has ordered a full and independent investigation into the weekend airstrike in the Geely axis of Borno State. It, however, maintained that the operation was deliberate and based on intelligence. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, disclosed the government's position in a statement he personally issued. He added that the federal government is collaborating with the governments of Borno and Yobe states on the matter. While expressing government condolences to the families of those affected, the minister insisted that weekend operation followed sustained intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. Meanwhile, a public affairs analyst, Chief Oluwasegun Oyedijo, and legal practitioner cum conflicts governance expert Olufemi Adenitan, Esquire, have said that one of Nigeria's major challenges is the tendency to shift blame rather than take responsibility for actions. The experts made their remarks while discussing the topic, Borno Market's Nigeria Air Force airstrike, matters arising on BCOS Current Affairs Breakfast Program, AM 120. BCOS reporter Fedora Folagboye, who monitored the program, has the details.
The Nigerian Air Force airstrike on the Borno market has sparked widespread concern, raising questions about civilian safety and military accountability. Intended to target insurgents near the Borno-Yobe border, the strike reportedly hit a busy market, killing many civilians, with victims receiving treatment as authorities reviewed the incident. Discussing the topic on the BCOS AM 120, a public affairs analyst, Chief Oluwasegun Oyedijo, said the military's efforts should be commended despite public criticism, noting the residents of the affected community had already been displaced. He explained that the market had been closed for about 5 years, yet some individuals still returned to trade, indirectly engaging with those that the government is combating, thereby strengthening them. Chief Oyedijo further stated that terrorists are not the only problem, but also those who aid and support them.
The first reaction that came to the public was civilians were attacked, civilians were affected, until you go into details. And then the details made us to understand that that very community is a boundary between Borno State and Yobe, rather. Now, that very place are high brand area for terrorism in which the normal regular people has been displaced. And I believe with you, we'll all understand, you all have the statistics of how many thousands or millions of people has been displaced from their usual community across the country, or majorly the Northeast. Now, that very community happens to be one of those communities that have been affected.
Now, also speaking on the program, a legal practitioner cum conflict governance expert, Olufemi Adeniton, Esquire, stated that individuals present in such markets are in effect aiding and abetting terrorists and ought not to have been there in the first place. He noted that while some may be innocent and compelled by the harsh economic conditions to earn a livelihood, this does not justify their presence, as their activities indirectly amount to collaboration through trade with the group.
One is that those group of persons, according to the statement that is available, are seen to be aiding and abetting or involved in trading activities in Jili community, in that market area where they were usually, according to their reports, those group of persons should not even be in the market in the first instance, shouldn't even be there, because it is seen that some of them sell arms and ammunition, they sell food, they sell things in disguise, even fertilizers used for hiding explosive and this kind of things, right? So that is one part of the narrative, right, which is out there. So the other part, which the Amnesty International and other civil society organizations have come to say, is that under the rules of engagement, perhaps you must also be sure that the civilians particularly are protected, right? So we don't see this kind of a collateral damage or this kind of loss of life as we've seen, right? Because as it stands now, we don't even know the exact number of persons, right, of casualties or who have and people who have been affected.
Both guests urge citizens not to be influenced by ethnicity or religion in the upcoming elections, noting the people are responsible for their choices and will bear the consequences. They also called on the government to adopt a more strategic approach to tackling terrorism, emphasizing that it goes beyond force to include education. Fidora Afalagui, BCOS News.
A federal high court in Abuja has fixed May 26 for the Department of State Services, DSS, to open its case in the alleged terrorism charge it filed against former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN, and his son, Abdulaziz. At the mention of the case today, Akinlolu Kehinde, SAN, who appeared for the prosecution, that's the DSS, told the court that an amended 5-count charge has been filed to replace an earlier one on which Malami and Abdulaziz had been arraigned. Kehinde applied to withdraw the earlier charge and requested the amended one to be read to the defendant for the pleas to be taken afresh. President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, has reacted to concerns surrounding the reported closure of the United States Embassy in Nigeria, attributing such move to global security fears rather than local political issue. Recall that the United States Department of State had reportedly authorized the departure of non-emergency government personnel and their families from its embassy in Abuja, citing a worsening security situation across Nigeria. Speaking during the commissioning of the new Nigeria Revenue Service NRS headquarters in Abuja, Akpabio dismissed claims that the embassies were shut down due to Nigeria's election, noting that such assumptions were misplaced. He explained that countries like the United States may take precautionary steps globally due to a rise in tensions with adversaries such as Iran. He cautioned Nigerians against linking such developments to domestic politics, particularly elections. You're watching news around the world on BCOS television. We'll take a short commercial break. Please don't go away.
Just imagine walking into a full 80 to 90,000 stadium capacity with all eyeballs on you. The feeling you've been waiting for. You are now like a Michael Jackson on stage. You're a star. And this is the moment your 15 seconds, 10 seconds moment to shine, to deliver that God-given talent, to deliver those 4 to 6 hours a day training. Once that moment comes, go through those emotions, but at the end of the day, love it, live it, and deliver. This is MTN Champs Season 4. To register, log on to mtnchamps.com.
All right, everyone, no put your ears, make we talk. Time don't reach to rearrange this house to give us small wisdom. Sounds mighty fresh now, but you know, I beg no be so. Before I go talk, say our smell no reach. Make not think I'm twice so. Ever heard of Colgate, the #1 oral care brand in the world?
Colgate Maximum Cavity Protection unlocks 24 hours cavity defense. The formula boost with calcium for lifelong smiles.
Mom, it's a time to brush. No more for my cover mouth.
Colgate for 24 hours maximum cavity protection.
With Nivea Dry Deo, you can keep moving forward in life with confidence. Nivea Dry Deo. Derma 72-hour active protection against sweat and odor with 0% alcohol to prevent irritation. Stay dry and fresh all day long. Skin is for moving forward, Nivea is for skin. Your favorite Nivea Deo, now in a smaller pack size.
Many thanks for staying tuned. Now we come to your state, where the state governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, has approved the constitution of the Third Assembly of the State Youth Parliament. This was contained in a release by the state chairman, Agency for Youth Development, Honorable Falana Adebowale Adebayo. The release noted that interested applicants must be aged between 15 and 29, have a minimum of senior secondary school certificate, SSCE, or its equivalent, with passion for youth issues and leadership. Applicants must not have any criminal record, must not belong to any secret court, and must have local government identification and birth certificates, as well as a clean drug record. According to the release, it is a must for interested applicants to register via the agency's website. It added that submitted online data should be printed out along with the attached required documents, while the hard copy should be submitted not later than 2 weeks, starting from Tuesday the 14th to the 28th of April 2026, to the office of the chairman or your state agency for youth development secretariat, Agodi, Ibadan. The executive chairman of the project's monitoring agency in Oyo State, Engineer Muftau Opunsalau, says the agency's core mandate is to ensure that government projects are implemented in line with approved agreements and recommendations. Engineer Opunsalau said this while participating on the BCOS Live Personality Interview Program Guest of the Month. He explained that ongoing projects across the state are designed to create an enabling environment for investment, while also improving road connectivity and regional development. Our reporter, Awau Ibrahim, monitored the Guest of the Month program, and her report is presented by Bimbo Akambi.
The executive chairman of the project monitoring agency in Oyo State, Engineer Muftau Opunsalau, emphasized that every situation requires improvement, describing monitoring as the eyes of authority in ensuring accountability and progress. He acknowledged that while challenges exist, procurement processes have provided opportunities for engagement and development. He stressed that the agency is on ground to ensure that contractual agreements are properly executed to specification. During the BCOS Guest of the Month program, he also highlighted the need to embrace modern agricultural technology and encouraged citizens to actively participate in government initiatives.
So for a government that know the needs and know the importance of infrastructure, it will definitely approach that to build that. So if government is building schools, you can't say government is not building people and is building schools. It is you that will ensure that all your wards are in school. The government has already built the school, okay? Government will build a good road, provide easy transport system. It is you now that will now create that movement, engage, integrate into the system.
Speaking on how politics affects project continuity, Engineer Open Salau called for the election of credible, principled, and God-fearing individuals into leadership positions. He stressed that projects should not be driven by political party affiliations, but by their relevance and impact. According to him, once projects are politicized, they risk abandonment. He added that while political parties remain a constitutional platform for elections, governance decisions should prioritize development over partisanship.
When you talk about corruption and you are not particularly assigned to arrest corrupt individuals, it could make your job very complicated when you start to look at the corrupt practice in this endeavor. But what you should do as a project performance monitoring agency is to ensure that the agreements you have with the government is well implemented.
Addressing housing deficits, he described the issue as long-standing and called for more proactive government policies to make housing affordable. He warned that lack of access to housing could increase the temptation of corrupt practices, while adding that the Circular Road project was a major achievement of the Oyo State government. Engineer Open Salau said that during the course of monitoring, 445 kilometers of roads have so far been completed, while another 459 kilometers of roads, including internal rural roads, are about to be completed, adding that upgrade of markets across the zones of the state are nearing completion. He called on the people of Oyo State to rally around the governor and also support his candidate come the 2027 elections.
People should try to be more involved in the process. Get involved, participate in everywhere you can. It's not easy, but you should. And I can tell you it's not only money that you can use to attain some political positions. Sometimes it's the brilliance.
He concluded that a structured and efficient system is essential to attract investors with significant resources and drive sustainable development in the state.
38 inmates standing trial for various offenses across courts in Oyo, Ogbomoso, and Okyogun have been granted freedom by the Oyo State Chief Judge, Justice Iyabo Yerima, at the Abolongo Correctional Center, Oyo. The inmates were released during a case review session held at the facility in Oyo Town. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi has the details.
Decongesting correctional facilities remains a major challenge confronting the Nigerian correctional service across the country. The Abolongo Correctional Center in Oyo, originally built to accommodate 160 inmates, currently houses over 400, with a significant number still awaiting trial. As part of efforts to address this situation, the Oyo State Chief Judge, Justice Iyabo Yerima, has continued to exercise her discretionary powers through periodic reviews of inmates' cases, granting leniency to deserving individuals. A team of judges led by Justice Ladiran Akintola had on Tuesday commenced the exercise at the Agodi Correctional Center in Ibadan, where over 300 cases were reviewed, leading to the release of 40 inmates on grounds of merit and compassion. On Wednesday, the exercise moved to the Medium Security Custodial Center, Abolongo, Oyo, where 38 inmates were granted unconditional pardon on grounds including ill health, prolonged detention, and in the interest of justice. Justice Akintola admonished the freed inmates to turn a new leaf, warning that they might not be given a second chance if they return to crime. He also urged members of the public to accept them without discrimination to aid their reintegration into society.
Now that you have tasted life in air, you have become ambassadors of this facility. I'm sure once you are out there and you encounter people who are trying to misbehave, you will caution them to say you don't want to follow to the logical conclusion. This is your line of action, because where it will land you will not be entirely pleasant or palatable.
Speaking further on the overstretched state of correctional facilities, Justice Akintola emphasized the need for improved conditions to enable the centers fulfill their correctional mandate effectively. The Controller of Corrections in Oyo State, Olusegun Oshogun, in a message delivered by Deputy Controller of Corrections, Mosumola Abolonuduro, alongside Olabode Akadiri, commended the Chief Judge's intervention, noting that overcrowding poses serious health risk to both inmates and correctional personnel.
On behalf of the controller, I appreciate the sustained synergy between the Oyo State Judiciary and the Nigeria Correctional Service with respect to sustainable dispensation of justice.
So this opportunity you have seen from the Chief Judge, please use it wisely and pray for her and everybody on the high table or everybody who have come here to do this for you. Please pray for them, because they have done you good.
The freed inmates expressed gratitude to God and the Oyo State Judiciary for the opportunity to regain their freedom, describing it as a rare privilege. Adebayo Abdurafi, BCOS News.
The federal government is intensifying initiatives to reform Nigeria's correctional system, focusing on transforming custodial centers into vibrant agribusiness hubs via strategic public-private partnerships. According to Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, Minister of Interior, the reform seeks to revolutionize correctional facilities by establishing them as dynamic centers of transformation and human development, rather than just holding institutions. This report by Adeola Oladele examines the feasibility of reintroducing farm-based programs in custodial centers.
As the federal government embarks on transforming custodial centers into agribusiness hubs through collaborative public-private partnerships, discussions around rehabilitating inmates through farm-based activities have once again come to the forefront. The proposed reformed agenda, as outlined by the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, aims to utilize agriculture as a catalyst for skill development, economic empowerment, and recidivism reduction within the Nigerian Correctional Service. Reacting to these developments, the retired controller of Nigeria Correctional Service, Alhaji Iskil Yusuf, emphasized that reintegrating custodial inmates into organized agricultural activities extends beyond food production, serving as a pragmatic approach to personal development that fosters discipline and provides inmates with pertinent vocational skills. He emphasized the significance of partnership between public and private sectors, noting that they could facilitate job opportunities after release, thereby aiding former inmates' effective reintegration into society.
Some of the challenges they are likely to face, getting right people to be there, particularly now that the correctional centers is dominated by awaiting trials. The awaiting trials cannot be subjected to serious work, particularly taking them outside the correctional centers, because they are presumed to be innocent until court says otherwise. So that's why they cannot be subjected to any serious treatment. But except that there can't be any serious farm centers within the perimeter walls of the correctional centers. That is just the basic truth. But having it outside with proper selection of inmates to be there, I'm sure it will be a very good venture and improve the image of the service.
However, the former head of Correctional Center cautioned that the initiative's success would depend on addressing critical challenges, including security concerns, inadequate infrastructure, and limited personnel in correctional facilities, noting that skill acquisition alone is insufficient to guarantee reformation.
All we need is just to do it strategically in a way that will not jeopardize the security of the society. Because if you put adding criminals on the farm center that is open, of course, the tendency of him escaping is very, very high. It is good for these inmates to acquire skills, but acquiring skills does not mean they have been reformed. Because where they acquire skills, they come out, even the skills they acquire, they may not even get to put it into use. Not to talk of settling down. So they need to be properly, machinery should be put in place within the correctional centers to ensure proper and adequate reformation of offenders there. And the impression of the society is that most inmates that go into the correctional centers, they come out more hardened. And what makes them to be more hardened? It is because of the congestion that is there. The best way to decongest our correctional centers is to encourage state governments to have their own correctional facilities.
Alhaji Yusuf posited that effective implementation of the initiative could contribute to decongesting correctional centers and repositioning Nigeria's correctional system to foster rehabilitation, productivity, and national growth. Adeola Oladele, BCOS News.
We have another timeout. Please stay tuned.
When malaria knocks you down, you can be sure parasites are having a party in your system.
Welcome to our new kingdom, guys!
Comel, an effective weapon against malaria. Attacking the parasite army directly to give you express relief and get you back on your feet effectively. Comel on. Malaria gone.
My skin is my identity, my strength. It's unique and deserves care made specially for me. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, enriched with 95% pure vitamin C and pulp extract. For visibly radiant and even-toned skin in just 2 weeks. New Nivea Radiant and Beauty Even Glow, for your shade of beautiful.
Many thanks for staying tuned. A philanthropist and community advocate, Alhaja Tolanikawu Akande, popularly known as Erobodo 1, has declared her intention to contest the Ibadan Northeast-Southeast Federal Constituency seat in the House of Representatives on the All Progressives Congress, APC. Olamide Owolabi, who was at the declaration ceremony held at Oluyoro Okiofa, Ibadan, reports.
Elections remain a vital pillar of democracy, providing citizens the opportunity to choose credible leaders and ensuring that governance reflect the will of the people. Driven by this principle, philanthropist and community advocate Alhaja Tolanikawu Akande, popularly known as Erobodo 1, formally joined the race to represent Ibadan Northeast and Southeast Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives under All Progressive Congress, APC. In her address of declaration, Alhaja Akande said that decision to contest is driven by a passion for service and commitment to giving the people a stronger voice in governance. She pledged to promote gender inclusion, uphold integrity, and deliver people-oriented representation. She added that her long-standing advocacy for women and the girl child would remain a top priority, describing it as a lifelong mission.
I'm here to declare my intention to contest for the post of Federal House of Representatives, Ibadan Northeast, Southeast Federal Constituency, Oyo State, Nigeria. Gender balance. I want you to expect from me people centricity, as in I love people and I want to be the voice of the people and the hope of our future.
Reacting, the APC women leader in Oyo State, Dr. Adekemi Okpatunde, described the declaration as a welcome development, noting that increased female participation is key to achieving inclusive governance.
I'm delighted, and I feel so proud of her and other women coming out, because it's your civic responsibility to vote. It's good for every citizen when you are over 18 to be actively involved in the affairs of governance of your country. You have to be part of the decision of the issues that affect you.
Also speaking, the APC chairman in Ibadan Northeast, Mr. Ashimolowo Elewure, commended Alhaja Akande's credibility and dedication to the party. She's the wife of popular Fuji musician Abbas Akonde Obesere. The event attracted party stakeholders and supporters from across Oyo State. Olamide Wolabi, BCOS News.
The federal government's decision to reduce import duties on key goods such as pharmaceuticals, rice, and vehicles is being seen as a strategic move to address the rising cost of living in Nigeria. By lowering tariffs on these imported items, the policy is expected to make essential goods more affordable and also to ease inflationary pressure on consumers. Our correspondent, Timitope Ogunleye, takes a closer look at the import duty cut. Our report is presented by Adebayo Abdurrafi.
The reduction in import duties on essential commodities is one of the federal government's latest interventions aimed at cushioning the effects of economic hardship on Nigerians, while the policy is expected to bring short-term relief through lower prices and improved access to food, medicines, and vehicles. Concerns remain about its long-term implications for the nation's economy. A tax practitioner, Mr. Eric Joshua, explained that the policy could reduce the cost of goods such as food, vehicles, and pharmaceuticals. However, he noted that the impact may not be immediate, as many of the goods currently in the market were imported at higher duty rates. Mr. Joshua added that sustained implementation of the policy could gradually lead to price reductions, improved purchasing power for consumers, and lower production costs for businesses that rely on imported inputs.
There will be a negative impact to the automobile because it will enable people, those in that sector, business sector of importation of vehicle, to import some luxury vehicle, which may enhance people to stop buying the new one we are producing locally here and focus attention there. But government, that is the way the policy is. It's not that the policy is just on some essential commodities, not on all these things. So it's not someone buying latest vehicle and you expect government to reduce the import duty. It still be the same. But for local manufacturers of vehicles, it has no difference.
Also speaking, a community pharmacist, Mr. Oyekunle Amuson, described the reduction in import duties on pharmaceutical products as a welcome development. He said if properly implemented, the policy will enhance access to essential medications, especially for patients facing financial constraints.
The presidency should follow up and set up very firm institutional controls so that it will not be withdrawing or removal of import duties on some items, and at the end of the day, other government agencies will also set up other charges on all these imported items.
A car dealer, Mr. Oluwatobiloba Adetoye, noted that the policy could have mixed effects on automobile dealers. According to him, importers bringing in vehicles under the new tariff regime stand to benefit from lower costs, while dealers with existing stock imported at higher duties may not experience immediate gains.
Some people is going to benefit it, while some is not going to benefit it. The part of who is going to benefit it are the people that they are just trying to import cars in or any other goods like rice and all. But we that we've imported our cars in before the lower tax is going to affect us.
Analysts say that while the import duty reduction is expected to ease prices and improve access to essential goods, its full impact will take time and may vary across sectors, particularly for local industries competing with imported products.
Of course, you're still watching News Around the World on BCOS television. We have another short commercial break. When we return, it will be time for the sports segment of the news. Please don't go anywhere.
Super Malt Multivitamin Active Teens.
Malt Multivitamin Active Teens.
Good evening, and welcome to the sports segment of the evening news. My name is Toby Ajowale.
Super Eagles head coach Eric Shaw says he will use next month's Unity Cup in London as a platform to assess and integrate new players. Nigeria, the defending champions, will face Zimbabwe in their opening fixture on Tuesday, May 26, at the Valley, home of Charlton Athletic. The tournament also features India and Jamaica. Shaw revealed plans to scout Europe for players of Nigerian descent and invite uncapped or previously overlooked talent, while also monitoring top performance in the Nigeria Premier Football League. He added that he will watch domestic games closely until the end of the season before naming home-based players, repeating a strategy that helped discover defenders Benjamin Frederick and Igor Ogbu in last year's edition. Regular first-team stars are expected to be rested for the Unity Cup but will return for high-profile June friendlies against Poland and Portugal, which Shell believes can improve Nigeria's FIFA rankings. And in the MPFL, Kun Khalifat Football Club's technical advisor Obinna Uzoho has described midfielder Uchechukwu Onuoha as one of the finest talents in the Nigeria Premier Football League. Onuoha was outstanding in Kun Khalifat's 3-0 win over Warri Wolves last Sunday, scoring a brace to take his tally to 4 goals in 9 MPFL appearances this season. The informed midfielder is expected to play a key role when Kun Khalifat face Plateau United in Match Day 35 this weekend. And in tennis, Britain's Jack Draper was forced to retire in the third set of his first-round match against Argentina's Thomas Martin Echeverry at the Barcelona Open due to a knee injury. The 24-year-old, ranked 28 in the world, won the first set 6-3 but struggled with movement in the second, which he lost 6-3, received physio treatment and strapping below his right knee before retiring 4-1 down in the decider. It was Draper's first clay court match of the season and only his fourth event since returning from a 6-month layoff caused by a bruised bone in his left arm. Echeverry praised his opponent, saying he loved how he plays, saying he was a great fighter. In other action, Cameron Norrie replaced Jack Draper as British #1 and advanced to the second round with a 4-6, 6-7, 6-4 victory over Stan Wawrinka. And finally, in sport news tonight, in football, Ugo Ekitike started alongside Alexander Isak in attack for Liverpool, with Isak making his first start since early December after recovering from a broken leg. Florian Wirtz also featured from the beginning. Manager Arne Slot expressed frustration at how rarely his 3 big summer signings have played together this season, saying he was, however, happy that Alex was back to the starting fold.
And that will be all. And it's back to news around the world. My name is Toby Ajowale.
Thanks, Toby. On the foreign scene, Iran's military warned today it would block trade through the Red Sea along with the Gulf and Sea of Oman if the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports continue. Foreign desk editor Folashade Akintala monitored the story and others as presented by Bimbo Akombi.
In a statement carried by Iranian state television, the head of the military's Central Command Center said if the United States continues with its blockade and creates insecurity for Iran's commercial vessels and oil tankers, it will also constitute a prelude to violating the ceasefire. He added that Iran will act decisively to defend its national sovereignty and its interests. The United States has imposed a naval blockade on Iranian ports since Monday, after U.S.-Iran talks over the weekend in Pakistan failed to produce a deal to end the war. But maritime tracking data on Tuesday indicated that several ships sailing from Iranian ports had crossed the Strait of Hormuz despite the blockade. On Wednesday, Iran's Tasnim news agency quoted unnamed informed sources as saying that shipping from Iran's southern ports had continued. It added that Iranian commercial vessels have set sail for various destinations around the world during the past 24 hours. A student has shot at least 4 people dead, including fellow pupils, and wounded at least 20 at a middle school in south-central Turkey, according to the regional governor. Governor Mukerrem Unlua told reporters 3 students and 1 teacher were killed in Wednesday's attack in the province of Kahramanmaraş, which he said was carried out by a student in the 8th grade. The attacker was also shot dead. The shooting is the country's second school attack in 2 days, coming after Tuesday's shooting at a school in Sanliaofa province in the southeast, conducted by a former student who killed himself in a showdown with police after wounding 16 people. Onlua said the student who carried out Wednesday's shooting is believed to have used guns that belonged to his father, a former police officer. The student concealed the weapons in a backpack, entered 2 classrooms, and opened fire randomly, said Onlua. Footage released by the IHA private news agency on Wednesday showed a person being evacuated in an ambulance, his body and face covered, as well as tearful parents who had rushed to the school. Police have increased security around the building, and television footage showed ambulances present in the area. And finally, the United States military has killed 4 more people in its 4th deadly attack on vessels in the Eastern Pacific Ocean over the past 4 days. U.S. Southern Command, SOUTHCOM, announced the attack in a social media post on Tuesday, alongside a video that showed a stationary boat with outboard engines being hit by a missile and exploding into a huge ball of flames. SOUTHCOM, which is responsible for U.S. military operations in Latin America and the Caribbean, claimed that the 4 people killed were narco terrorists, but provided no evidence to support its claim. Justification for the lethal attack, according to SOUTHCOM, was due to intelligence, details of which were not provided, that confirmed that the vessel was transiting along known narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific and was engaged in narco-trafficking operations. The latest killing of people on board vessels in international waters in the Eastern Pacific Ocean and Caribbean brings the overall death toll to at least 175 since early September, when United States President Donald Trump ordered the attacks to stop what the White House claims are Latin American cartels transporting drugs to the United States. Bimbo Akambi, BCOS News.
To end news around the world, here again are the top stories. Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Usev, has revealed that 226 local government areas in 33 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, fall within the high flood risk areas identified for this year. The federal government has ordered a full and independent investigation into the weekend airstrike in the Gili axis of Borno State. 38 inmates stand in trial for various offenses across courts in Oyo, Ogbomoso, and Okiogun have been granted freedom by the Oyo State Chief Judge, Justice Iyabo Yerima, at the Abolongo Correctional Center, Oyo. On the foreign scene, Iran's military warned today it would block trade through the Red Sea, along with the Gulf and Sea of Oman, if the U.S. naval blockade on Iranian ports continue. The BCOS website is live. Kindly visit us at www.bcostv.com. You can also watch us on GoTV, channel 134, and on StarTimes, channel 113. Now, before I go, don't join hoodlums in threatening the peaceful coexistence of the country, for it is only in an atmosphere of peace that development thrives. That's the news around the world, and many thanks for watching. From me and the team here, enjoy the rest of your evening.